Hi there. Very good evening and good morning. So we are in session number 6, and we are still in the chapter named data structures. Uh, so before we start the today's topics of this chapter, I'll do a quick recap of what happened in session number 5. So we have covered lists or arrays as a part of session number 5, and it is also a topic of the same chapter, data structures. And what we have learned from list in a very short summary is list is group of elements, and we have seen how to create a list, what is the syntax to create a list, and we have also seen how to read the elements inside the list, and we have also seen slicing and dicing of this list as well, like if you have to read the range of indexes in the list, how to do, etc. And to access any of the list elements, the main important piece for us, or the main important catch for us, is the list will have the index numbers. So the index numbers always starts with 0, and it continues to the length of the number of elements in the list. And we have also seen how to add the elements, in the list. We have also seen how to remove the elements from the list, and we have also seen how to create nested elements, nested lists. That means a list inside the other list. Okay. And we have also seen if a list is nested into another list, so how do we basically access it, right? So all of that operations we have seen, and also we have all understood how to do data operations within each element of the list, right? So unlike the data type, because a variable can have only one type of data type, unlike that, the list is also one of the data types, but I don't call it data types, I call it data structure, because each element of a list can be of one single data type. You can have a mix and combo of all the data types that you have learned in the session number 4 as a part of the list as well. Okay. So there is no thumb rule saying that you only should have all the integers inside the list, you should only have all the text inside the list. There is no thumb rule like that. You can have anything. Okay. So with this, what we have done is, this is what we have covered on overall in the last session. So today we are going to target to complete and see how many of these topics we will be able to cover. I have the next important data structure as dictionaries, which is also called as JSON, and I have tuples, and I have set data frames and arguments in the queue. Okay, so we'll quickly start with dictionaries today. As you see on the screen, I have my PyCharm session open again, and let me give you a quick introduction of how do I define dictionary, just like how did we define list in the past, right? Uh, so dictionaries are basically the format that you see on the screen is the dictionary, as you see here, and it is very famously also called as JSON. So if I have to just give you a background of what is JSON, JSON is a format of a file or an object or a variable. So what is the format that this variable or an object or a file is saved or accessed? A JSON is always made of a key, and it is always made of a value. Okay, just like name. If name is a key, your actual name is a value. If location is the key, wherever you belong to, that belongs the value, right? If your education is the key, whatever is your graduation level, that becomes the value. Okay. If company is the key, whichever company you work for, that becomes the value. If programming language is a key, whatever programming language you know, like Python, comma, R, comma, SQL, comma, Ruby on Rails, comma, Scala, comma, whatever it is, those becomes values inside that key. So the only difference between the dictionary and the list, and there are very, very common similarities between list and dictionary. What is it? Dictionary is also a group of elements separated by comma. Okay, just like list. But dictionary is in the flower braces, right, or curly braces people call it. And but the list is the syntax of the list is in square braces. Okay, and in the list, all the elements are by default indexed with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Those are the position numbers of the elements from left to right. But when it comes to dictionary, each value inside the dictionary has got its own name. Okay, this is called as key. So you can access this element not by the index, you can access this element by the key name. So for this value called Python for beginners, the key name is course. Okay, it is not 0, 1, 2, 3. Likewise, whenever you create a list, right? For example, if I have to represent the same thing in the list, I would just say like this. So Oracle is the first element, and the second element is my Python for beginners, and the third element would be 30, the fourth element would be training, right? So if I have to access each and every element of this list, right? If I have to access each and every element of this list, how do I do that? I learned in the past session. So if I have to see what is my course name, so that is element number 1. That is the second element. You see the Python for beginners? Now this is how the list is created, right? In the list, the position of the element is directly related to the index. Okay, so that's the reason position of the elements is very important in list. Whereas when it comes to dictionary, I'm creating this dictionary. So I have name as given to Oracle, and Python for beginners is a key called course. Duration is a key for 30. Uh, Purpose is a key for training. So training is called value, and purpose is called key. And key and value are separated with colon. This is the syntax to create a dictionary. Without a key, you cannot create an element inside the dictionary. It is mandatory. Okay, and you cannot have duplicate names inside the dictionary. I mean duplicate keys inside the dictionary. For example, within the same dictionary, if I have to create another element with the same key called name, okay, so let's see what does it say. Oracle 2, create this. It says it's an invalid syntax. Okay, I'm sorry, let me select this. Okay, now you see it has created this object. But now, why am I saying that you cannot create with the same name? Let's see that. Okay, so it's a best practice that you should never ever create. I'll show you why. You see here, it is overwritten. If I have to access another element, any other element of the dictionary, right? So I basically have to pass, instead of passing the index numbers for a list, in the dictionary you have to pass a key. Okay, so now if I say what is the value of course in it, it is Python for beginners. What is the value for another one like duration? So if you have to pass in braces and you say duration, what is the value of duration inside the dictionary? It is 30. But what happened when the first one I named it as Oracle, and second time I'm adding another element with the same key called name? What happened to this value? Right? It has been overwritten. See here, there is no other element called just Oracle inside this dictionary. That's the reason you cannot have a duplicate key value inside the dictionary. Okay, in case if you are by mistake, if you are having two different two elements with the same key, it is going to always take the latest key as its key and value. The first one will be overwritten. It is exactly same as creating a variable, right? You create a variable with a value 10, and later on in the program, if you create the same variable name with another value as 30, the current value of the variable is only 30. And by the way, one thing that I have been keep missing throughout these sessions is all the variables that you create inside the Python kernel are case sensitive. What I mean by case sensitive, Oracle underscore dict with O uppercase is different from Oracle underscore dict with lowercase. Okay, so these are two different things. It is case sensitive. So if I have to create the same object like this, and now I'm not creating the last element, because you know why is that I'm saying you should not create with the same key. Now you see there are two variables with the uppercase O, lowercase o. Okay, this is another important thing. Now we know how to create a dict, how to access the elements of the dict. Okay, and we also know that the position of elements inside the dict doesn't matter at all. But the position of elements inside the list matters, because the position is directly related to the index. But here, wherever this element might be, whether it is in the beginning of the dict or at the end of the dict or in the center of the dict, it doesn't matter, because this key value is always unique and you can access that element from anywhere inside the dictionary. Okay. Now, the next one is very similar to list. You also have length to get the dictionary. And the next one is the same thing. We know how to read the data of a dict now. And likewise of list, to delete an element inside the list, we have options for us, right? One is pop, one is remove, one is delete operator. So you can do the same thing here as well. When you basically say, del or skill dict course, you are basically losing course as a key and value inside the dictionary. That's it. And you can also say, I'm adding again the course back to the dictionary. You see that? You can also use pop as well. No problem. So if you see pop also removing that key and also value. Okay. And I'm again adding that value back to the dictionary. So I have it. Now, with this opportunity, I have also shown you how to add a new element in the dict. For the existing dict, if you wanted to add a new element, for example, I wanted to now add another, key called as, topics. How many topics I have in this course? Just say I have 15 topics. Okay. Now as soon as I say this, if this key doesn't exist inside your dictionary, it automatically creates a new key for you and with the value that you specify here. You see, it is here. And in this, you will never bother to create a new key in the, in the first of a dictionary or the tail of the dictionary or in the between of the dictionary. As I told you, unlike list, the position of elements doesn't matter in the dictionary. Okay. And very interestingly, again, you can also create nested dictionaries also, just like your lists. So let me create one of the, dictionaries which is nested. Just like I'll copy paste the syntax, for the ease of typing. Now I would say all of these exist. Okay. So I'll just copy paste here. Now I wanted to create another element called contents. When I say contents, I'm going to create the value inside the content is another dictionary. Okay. So what do I say? What is chapter 1? What did we cover in the chapter 1? It was introduction. Right? So the key name is chapter 1 and it is introduction. What are the topics of chapter 1? So I would say topics 1 of chapter. So I have something like what is Python, why Python, all of these we covered, right? Similarly, what was chapter 2? Again, chapter 2 will become my key, right? The value inside the chapter 2 would be, we have seen setup, right? What are the topics inside the chapter 2? There are multiple ways to represent this data, right? So in the setup, we have seen PyCharm, Jupyter, right? And we have also seen Terminal, we have seen Anaconda, we have seen Spider, etc., etc. Right? These were the topics of second chapter, so on and so forth. Now, if I create this complete dictionary, you see the complete dictionary is created for us, the dict2. You can either click on view here on the screen, or as always, you can type it in the print statement or just say dict2 and say command return. You're going to see that, right? To actually see it on the screen like this is how it is. This arrow mark means that it is a new line, just it is a continuation here. All right, so I have my dictionary created, nested dictionary. Now if I have to get what are the topics in the second chapter, how do I access? So inside this dictionary, okay, so I know that this dictionary is made of, okay, again I think there is, oh, it is searching here, I'm sorry. So in this, again I'm coming back to this console. So in this console, from this dictionary, I wanted to see what are the topics belonging to the second chapter. First thing is, in the parent dictionary, this is called parent dictionary, this is a child dictionary, okay? And this is the outermost dictionary, this is the innermost dictionary, you can call it that way also. From the outermost dictionary, first of all, I need to get into contents. After getting into the contents, I have another dictionary. Inside that, the key value is topic 2. So if I now run this, you see the value of topics 2, which is inside the second dictionary, is visible on the screen. it is very, very similar to the list that you have, the nested list that we have created in the last session, and to access the elements of the nested list. Now, you might now ask me, can I create list inside the dictionary or dictionary inside a list? Absolutely, you can create. So how is it? It is like this. Inside the dict, I'm creating another key called names, student names, and these student names is a list. Student name 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Now you see how does my dict look like? If you see here, Oracle dict, you see duration is 30, purpose is training, course is Python for beginners, name is Oracle, topics, there are 15 topics, and student names. If this is a key of the dictionary, the list are the students, and all of the students, I can have your names inside this list. And you can ask me, can I get fifth student name or the second student name, right? If I just say this student names as a dictionary key value, I get the list. Out of this list, I wanted to get the fourth student, right? So fourth student is nothing but the indexed value will be 3. Exactly. And this is a key value because it is a dictionary. Once you read the dictionary values, it is a list again. So to access an element in the list, it is an index, right? Likewise, you can also have dictionary inside a list as well. See, I have a list which is 10, 20, 30 on an externally, and the fourth element is a dictionary. If I can create this, and I read the first element, it is 10 that you see on the screen. I read the fourth element now, it is a dictionary. Okay, and this dictionary has got 2 elements. And if I wanted to get the purpose of training, the purpose as training, I should say, first get me the fourth element of the list. Inside that, get me the value of a key called purpose. That's it. This is how you play with the dictionaries. So now you know the similarities between the dictionaries and list. And the only dissimilarity between these two is syntax, and as well as instead of indexes, it uses key and values. In the list, it is index and value by default. In the dictionary, you have to specify a key and the value to it. That's it. The position doesn't matter in dictionary, but the position is the index number in the list. As simple as that. The way that you read the elements, the way that you access the elements, it is exactly one and the same. Instead of indexes, use the keys. Okay, this is all about dictionaries. So let's get into set. Set is exactly again same as list. The reason why I covered list in the beginning is because there are a lot of similarities that I can gain. I can refer to the list and I can teach the next of the data structures. That's the reason list was taught in the first, and I have spent a lot of time there to make you understand list a lot. Now, set is also very similar to index, but the only difference is set do not have any index. And the syntax to create a set is using the flower braces, again just like the dictionary. But if I don't specify any keys, directly the values, the object that is being created here is called as a set. If you see the data type here, set. Again, the length of the set is 4. Now, if you see, you cannot access each element of this set. You see, if I say, square braces of 0, it doesn't allow you. You cannot individually access each element of the set. That is a drawback. Okay. And then why do we actually use a set? I'll tell you what. I can add an element into the set like this, just like that we have for list. I have an element called E, correct? Though I have created A, B, C, D in the sequence, now you see after adding E, the sequence completely changed because set doesn't have any indexes. Set doesn't have any positions or the sequence. Now then, why should I basically have a set? In what scenarios I can use a set instead of list? Only when you wanted to handle duplicates. Now in the same set, I'm trying to create another element with the same value B, which is already existing. Now let's see what happens. You don't have two B's inside this set. There is only one element with the value as b. Though I force to add another b inside the set, it doesn't allow. So the main purpose of set that you might see in the real time is to remove the duplicates inside a list. If I have a list and it has got a lot of duplicates in it, just convert that list into a set and convert that set back into the list. That's it. You are cleaning all the duplicates inside the list. I'm not saying this is the only use case. Don't take it that way. Okay? This is one of the use cases that you can use. And main difference, if someone asks you what is the difference between a set and a list, first difference is set doesn't have any indexes. You cannot read each element inside the set. That is the first difference. The second difference is set cannot have duplicate elements inside the variable, right? You can only have unique values inside the set, but in list you can have n number of duplicates. That's fine. Okay, and as you see, every time you do some changes in the set, it will shuffle the values. Okay, that's the reason you cannot access the elements inside the set. And likewise, if you want to get the number of elements inside the set, it is the same as you have learned in list as well. Len of the variable name, it will tell you how many elements does that variable has got. Now on the right hand side of your screen here in the variable section, you have dict data type. It looks like this. See, this is a key and this is a value. You see each value is of different data type. Duration is of data type int, purpose is string, etc, etc. Similarly, you say this is a list. If you click on this, collapse this, the first element is 10, second element is 20, third element is 30, and the fourth element is a dict. It is all of these are int, but this is a dict. If you collapse this, again you see the subset of it. Inside this fourth element, which is a dictionary, name is Oracle, purpose is string. In case if you wanted a user-friendly reading of what is there inside a dictionary, you can also choose this panel. And we have created this Oracle dict as a nested or a dictionary within the list, right? See, inside this dictionary, there is a list called student names, which is of type list of 4 elements. And if you click on this, you get first element is student 1, second element is student 2, so on and so forth. This is another reason why a PyCharm is a real help for you, for any programmer. As soon as you create a variable, you can use this console to see what exactly is created in your system without even reading it, without even writing a command. All right. So this is one of the help consoles that I really wanted you to know. Okay. All right. Now tuples. Again, the tuples is also very similar to your list. Instead of using flower braces or curly braces or a square braces, you have to use a normal braces. If you use a normal braces and if you group the elements, this is called tuple. Let's create this. You see, it is called tuple here, as you see here, and with 3 elements. Now, tuple will have index just like your list. Tuple can also enable you to use your ranges, right? Slicing and dicing that you have learned in the list. Tuple will also allow you to reverse the complete elements of the inside the tuple, exactly like list. Now you can ask me, then what is the purpose of creating a tuple when we have list, right? Tuple is, right, it's an immutable object. When I say immutable object, once a tuple is created, you cannot basically add any new element inside the tuple. Like .add, it doesn't support. This is an error. You see here, if I try to add a new element inside the tuple, it says tuple object doesn't have any no attribute called add. But whereas I have a list here, right? Oracle dict list. So let me take that Oracle dict list. But whereas in a list kind of data structure, right? If I say, is it a list? No. Yeah, it is a list. If I say add and then say, for example, key. Now you see, I'm sorry, this is not the way to add. So let me take dictionary. Okay, on the top I have used add, right? I wanted to use that syntax in the set, but I don't want to use it here. So let me basically say Oracle list is equals to, this is the syntax, right? To add a new element. Let me do this. It has added, correct? I did not use this plus this, so it has overwritten. See the problem? It has overwritten with one value. Actually, the syntax should be this plus this, so that this element would have been added or appended into the list. But now what is that I wanted to actually tell you? You can add a new element into the list, but you cannot add or remove any element from the tuple. That is why tuple is called as immutable object. There is no add an element operation. There is no delete an element operation. There is no merge or reposition an element operation inside the tuple. Once a tuple is created, the only action that you can perform is you can delete that variable. How to delete a variable? Just say del and then the variable name. It will delete the variable. You don't see that variable on this console. It is deleted from your Python kernel. Okay. So let me summarize what are the 4 different data types that data structures we have seen. List, group of elements, and each element is read with the help of the index numbers. Dictionaries, again group of elements, but each element should have a key and it should have a value. Position doesn't matter. Set is again a group of elements. The syntax is using the flower braces or the curl braces, but set doesn't have any indexes, doesn't have any keys. That means you cannot basically read each element out of a set. But the property of a set is it cannot hold duplicate values. And every time there is a change in the set, it basically shuffles all the positions of the values. Okay, that is set. Tuple, on the other side, it is exactly like index. It will have the position numbers, it will have the index numbers. But once a tuple is created, you cannot add a new element into the tuple. You cannot remove an element from the existing tuple. You can't do it, right? That is why tuples are called immutable objects. You can also call immutable list as well. Okay. So this is a summary of all the data structures that we have seen. And finally, and very, very importantly, the last data structure for you is called data frames or tabular structure. So the tabular structure, to use tabular structure of data, a very important package that will stick to you for the lifetime if you are into data analytics, data science, ML, right? Or if you want to become a business analyst, etc. It is pandas. I'm saying import pandas as PD. That means I'm basically just naming pandas as a PD on my system. That is on my Python kernel. That's it. I'm renaming it. I'm aliasing it. Okay. And I'm sure you will not have pandas available by default on your system. How do you install pandas? Just say pip3 install pandas, not on this console. Just go to the terminal here on the bottom. And in here, when you see this, you have to say pip3 install pandas. This is one way to install pandas. Or whenever you say import pandas here directly, you will see an underline. Just like, for example, this will not be there. You will see an underline like this. And if you hover on this bulb icon, you will get an option called install package pandas. Just click on that. It will install pandas for you. Okay. Either you choose this route to install pandas package, or you go to the terminal in this console and type manually pip3 install pandas. It is one and the same. After the installation, you run this command. It says it will import that into your console. Now the package or the library called pandas is available inside your Python kernel or the Python session. Now I'm creating a dictionary. See here, this is dictionary only. I can create a tabular kind of structure from the dictionary. Now in the dictionary, I'm saying this is my key, students, student 1, 2, 3, 4, and each location. See here, the value is a list, and location is another key, and the values of the locations is India, USA, Canada, UAE. Now I wanted to convert this complete dictionary into a tabular structure. So the first column should be students. The second column should be location. First row is student 1 India. Second row is student 2 USA. Third row is student 3 Canada. Fourth row is student 4 and UAE. And people who doesn't know table, I'm sure everybody must have used Excel in your day-to-day life. So in Excel, you know what is a row and what is a column, right? Each record is called a row. Each, vertical lines are called as columns. So my columns are students and location. I need 4 rows inside that. Very simply, inside the pandas package, there is a function called data frame, and I have to pass this dictionary. Now I'm creating a variable called orskilldf, and it is nothing but convert this dictionary into a data frame. Data frame is a tabular structure. Now you print this. See the beauty on the screen? Everything is in the form of a data structure. Each element of this list has become one record for you. Students is one column, location is another column, and 4 records of it, and these 4 records are from these elements inside the list. Now you can also see it visually as well. Orskill underscore df, if you see here, now the length of it is 4 comma 2, right? 4 rows and 2 columns. If you recollect your mathematics that you have learnt in the schooling, right? Number of rows in a matrix representation, number of rows, comma, number of columns, right? The size of the matrix. It is matrix or matrix. So it's the same thing here in the tabular structure. Instead of just having a view, for the data frame, you have view as data frame. You see, you also see visually the table structure. So there are 4 rows. This is the first column students, second column is location. So you can create a tabular structure from the dictionary. And to create that, you need a package called pandas. And inside the pandas, there is a function called data frame. And if you pass in the dictionary into this function, it will create a data frame for you. All right. Okay. And so I'll try to conclude again, just to want to make sure that I did not rush today's session. It is only the same things that we have seen a relation with the list. We have gone little smoother. Okay. I'll try to again help you map and match what happened in this complete sessions. We have learned list, we have learned dictionary, we have learned set, we have learned tuples, we have learned data frames. So if I have to come back to my Excel, and you see list, dictionaries, tuples, set, data frames. So all of this is covered. Okay. So I would basically like to also cover arguments, but I feel it will be like, little lengthier again. So I just wanted to, pause myself from not covering the arguments. I'm happy to take any questions that you guys have, and the arguments will be covered in the next session. Right? Any questions you guys have? Please. Ironic. Yeah. Right? Okay. Yes. Exactly. It will represent a null value there. So you have, okay, we basically can create that also here, right? So let's create a 4th one. The question is, in the first key, I have 4 elements, but I don't know the position or the location of the 4th student, right? If I just create this, you see, it will be null value for the 4th student. So let me open it visually for you on the screen. So it is here. I'm sorry, I have to convert it into data frame. So orskill underscore df2, which is pd dot data frame and of orskill dict4. Now let's see what does this do. Sorry. Okay. I have to handle this. Basically, it will be a null value, but you have to handle it probably like this, right? The length of the element should be one and the same. Okay, so I have to handle it. Okay, I have to create it. Sorry, man. Basically, it should be less like null value like this. And then you say this, you see? Now, if I have to show you on the screen, where is that? Yeah. Dict4. Now you see student is 4 and this is also 4. It is null here. So orskill underscore df2. You see here, it's a null value. Okay. That is the important pain with the data frame. Basically, if you are trying to create a data frame using the dictionaries, you have to always make sure that the lengths are the same, But in case if you don't have a value, you have to handle it, and it is always a null value. Okay, so blank and the null, there is a confusion for a lot of guys. I would like to take it into a different session because there are three types of null values in Python. Just for just for the information, one is called NaN, one is called null, one is called blank. Okay, all of these three things belongs to null values only, but I'll tell you in what scenarios which one will pop up. Okay, cool. Yeah, Vinay. I'm sorry to stop you. You're not that clear. Probably you're very away from the microphone, or is your network problem? I'm not sure. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so if you have to map this particular whatever we are learning today into a real time, we are very far away from it. Okay, so once we know all the syntaxes, all the different object types, all the different data structures available inside the Python, when we actually pick a one real use case and we start executing it, you will definitely make a sense in real time where can I use these skills. Okay, we are little far from it. Without covering the rest of the topics, I can't explain at this point. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if no questions, I think we can sign off for this session. And before I close this session, please practice. Without the practice, I'm sure we don't remember things, because in a busy world and a dynamic world today, without the practice, you don't remember anything. And uh, I'm sure you guys would be feeling that you have understood in the session, but I bet you after 3 days, if I ask you the question that happened in the couple of sessions back, you will forget it. And the only way that you can remember is through the practice. So it is my request for you guys, just try practice as much as possible. And whatever I'm guiding you through the session is only a way to start doing all the combinations and trials for yourself. Okay, every day, even I keep learning new things, right? There is no end to learning actually. So I'm only consider me as a guiding light for you. But if you don't practice, and if you don't do all the permutations and combinations that gets on top of your head, you can't become a Python programmer. Okay, so that's why make the most of these sessions, and take that as a guidance or reference. But you have to practice a lot and lot more than what I'm explaining in the session. So you have Google as a resource for you. So just whatever, for example, now I have explained what is a dict and what is a list. Just go and search on the Google, what else can you do with the dict, what else can you do with the list. That is a way to learn forward. Okay, so I'll always keep pushing this in the most of the sessions, probably once in 2 sessions or 3 sessions, but please bear with me, because without that there is no point of training. Okay, so thank you guys. See you in the next session. We'll be covering the rest of the next topics. Yeah, arguments and the conditionals and loops, that's what we will start off. All right, thank you. Bye bye. Bye, be safe.